It's always good to hear a story from someone that has already owned and bought properties outside of the Bay Area, but in this case, outside of the country.
So we've been in the Bay Area about 6 years. We came here for Amy's job initially. She works at Meta. She was working at Meta in London, transferred internally. We had a property in London, which we sold. In the Bay, it is incredibly vast.
Right.
I remember speaking to you very early on and just being really, really surprised at how quickly it moved. In the UK, properties stay on the market for months at a time.
Wow.
And you may get a drip of viewings, you might get some offers, they fall through, and then you go again. And people can be stuck in limbo for more than a year in some circumstances of not being able to have that commitment to actually sell it and move on. So it's completely different. And we were initially pretty afraid of how fast it moved here. You know, offers are binding, you have to be really serious, you have to be ready to move. It's completely different in the UK compared to the Bay. We wanted to stay in San Francisco long term because we really like the city. It has its challenges, but many places in the US do, many places globally do. But San Francisco has retained its charm. We love this part of San Francisco, so no plans to move on or do anything dramatically different.
All right. Well, I'm glad we have this opportunity to do this interview because it's always good to hear a story from someone that has already owned and bought properties outside of the Bay Area, but in this case, outside of the country, right? Because one of the benefits of here in the Bay Area is the liquidity. And we'll talk about that in terms of, look, if you ever need to move for your own reasons, it's good to be able to move out. And I know you have many probably stories, personal stories to share about the e-liquid markets of some of these other countries and areas. But thank you for attending. And tell us a little bit about the journey. Like, how long have you guys been in the Bay Area for, and what allowed you guys to come to the Bay Area?
Yeah. So we've been in the Bay Area about 6 years. We came here for Amy's job initially. She works at Meta. She was working at Meta in London, transferred internally. We relocated here. I then joined Meta shortly afterwards. We had a property in London, which we sold a few years ago. We kept it for a few years while we were here, still renting, but decided to get rid of that. Moved to the Bay Area, rented for the first 4 or so years through COVID. And then just over a year ago, we were ready to start putting down roots here. We just got our green card, which was fantastic. So we felt ready to do that.
Nice. Very good. And so what did you do with the UK property? You guys just rented it out or left it vacant?
We rented it out.
Okay.
We wanted a bit of flexibility in case, things didn't work out. We needed to go back. And also we didn't have a lot of time when we left, when we found out we could move to the US. We didn't have a long time for Amy's work. We only had maybe a month's notice before getting the visa for us to relocate. So that wasn't enough time to sell the property there in that time. So we really only had that choice just to rent it out.
Got it. And so because you've been experienced of buying a place before, but not necessarily here in the Bay, how have you seen the difference of the Bay Area market now you've actually gone through it versus at least the experience in the UK?
Yeah, so it's totally different. They're not comparable. So in the Bay, it is incredibly vast.
Right.
I remember speaking to you very early on and just being really, really surprised at how quickly it moved. Properties become available on the Monday, you go and see them on a Friday, you put an offer in the next Monday, and that's it. In the UK, properties stay on the market for months at a time.
Wow.
And you may get a drip of viewings, you might get some offers, they fall through, and then you go again. And people can be stuck in limbo for more than a year in some circumstances of not being able to have that commitment to actually sell it and move on. So it's completely different. And we were initially pretty afraid of how fast it moved here. Offers are binding, you have to be really serious, you have to be ready to move. Completion date, move-in date might be 6 weeks after that. So it was pretty intimidating originally. But as soon as we started getting more used to it and ready and more committed to buy, it was incredibly refreshing at how fast it moved because we had that certainty of knowing that an offer was accepted, our move-in date was guaranteed within the next 4 to 6 weeks, and we could plan around that. And that was incredibly useful to be able to plan and have that certainty.
Yeah, tell us, if you can, a little bit of the story. You don't have to name names, but the story of here in the Bay Area, we don't have too many contingent on sale offers, right? And I got one luckily done recently, but in the UK, it's more of the norm. and it's not just a contingent on basically on sale in a sense. It was like a chain event.
Yep.
So walk us through like a recent example, and
Yeah.
now I don't know what they're going to do next, but
Yeah.
share that story.
Yeah, so we have a family friend who has been trying to move for the last 6 months or so. They found a property over 6 months ago. They wanted to put in an offer. It was accepted pretty early on. But in the UK, a lot of the time you have a chain of multiple people all exchanging properties on the same day. So it could be 2 up to 12 different properties are all exchanging hands on the same day. And for that to work, you need to line up everyone's funds of transfer, movers, whatever it is, everything needs to line up and everyone needs to agree on that date. And anything that goes wrong with one of these people in the chain could make the whole chain fall apart and everyone can't move on that day. And then you all need to reorganize and renegotiate a new date to exchange. So in the case of the family friend, they'd been waiting for 6 months, they finally had this date, and then on the morning of, once they'd already packed up their house, everyone in the chain was ready to go, one of the parties in the chains had issues transferring funds, whether it was a lender transferring the funds to the next one, and it all fell through. So everyone was just stalled. And that took about 5 days to resolve. They now moved in. But for those 5 days, everyone was in limbo. The house was packed up. They didn't know whether they would be able to get the property. Someone in the chain might get frustrated and take another offer at any point and just go elsewhere. So it added a lot more stress, a lot more uncertainty. So yeah, it's completely different in the UK compared to the UK.
That is a crazy amount of stress.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's not even just relying on a lender
Yeah.
or the previous person. It's the lender and the previous person for every group.
Right. Right.
And then what happens with their funds, right? Some people may have issues for whatever reason. Maybe the stock value of it went down or whatever. And now
Right.
that completely destroys the whole sequence of events.
Right.
So that's one of the benefits, right, of the Bay Area real estate market is you have the liquidity, and also you don't when you sell it, you don't have to deal with these kind of terms,
Right.
right? Now in the UK, unfortunately, it sounds like that's just the norm, and everybody's used to it, and you have to be okay with it. But then you can't really plan too far out,
Right. Right.
right? So walk us through about now the Bay Area. So how did you guys land? Like, where did you choose to be in the Bay Area?
Yeah.
Right. And give us that history first.
Yeah, so we knew we wanted to be in San Francisco.
Okay.
We had visited for work many times in the 8 years leading up to moving over here. So we knew San Francisco pretty well. We knew which neighborhood we wanted to move into. So
Yeah, where did you rent for the years? Like
Hayes
which
Valley.
areas?
Hayes
Okay.
Valley.
Okay.
And we knew that pretty early on.
Okay.
So yeah, we were in Hayes Valley. We moved around a few times in Hayes Valley, but always around there. We love Hayes Valley, still visit a lot. Wish we could live there. There's not much property there. Pretty hard to buy there.
Right.
So yeah, when we started looking to buy, that was the center of it. We started in Hayes Valley and trying to expand out from there. We were always aware of Napa, where we live now. So that was like an easy extension of our search area.
And how did you decide like the type of property, right? Like a condo flats, in this case, kind of almost like a split. Like how did you decide on what would work for you guys? What was that journey like?
Yeah, so originally we wanted a house.
Yep.
We were intimidated with HOAs and the bureaucracy that comes with that. HOAs aren't really a concept in the UK. We didn't really know much about it. We didn't want to be part of that or have just that fuss. But there wasn't as much available. There wasn't much, right? So we spent a few months not making any progress. I know you were really trying to push us to look for something more suitable, more readily available, and that was really helpful. We took that advice. So we settled on looking at apartments. And we knew we wanted a low number of HOA, people in there. So we ended up settling in a place with 2, and that was like really, really attractive in the end, and ended up being a lot less scary than we thought it would be.
Walk us through the general process. Like, was it now that you've gone through it, was it easier or harder than you thought it would be? Like looking back at it now, how would you envision it?
Way simpler than I thought it was going to be. It was very alien to us.
Right.
We had no concept of how it all worked. It was really foreign originally. You helped us a lot. get comfortable. You answered all our questions. That was very good. And now looking back, it was a breeze.
Right.
Like, I am not intimidated about moving house again or vice versa in the future. Um, it was far simpler than I thought it would be.
Good. I want to also for you to share, because you've been in this San Francisco for, you said, the last 6 years or
Mm-hmm.
so, right? And San Francisco had certainly its ups and downs,
Mm-hmm.
especially during COVID. So what still allowed you, or like, why did you still stay in the city
Mm.
during COVID when a lot of people left?
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember early on in COVID, we were talking about what we could do, right?
Yeah.
It's like it was very exciting, this idea of being able to work anywhere and travel anywhere in the
Yeah.
US. We wanted to stay in San Francisco long term because we really like the city. It has its challenges, but many places in the US do, many places globally do. But San Francisco has retained its charm. It has beautiful local neighborhoods, whether
Hmm.
it's Napa or Hayes Valley or Toll Valley, whatever it might be. These amazing, really vibrant local hubs with fantastic businesses, fantastic coffee shops and restaurants and cafes. It feels alive. It always feels alive,
All right.
and we love that about San Francisco. It's a very picturesque, cute looking city. We love it. And the biggest plus for us, and I think what's really kept us here, is the access to nature.
Right.
We love being able to explore California from here. We love being able to get out of the city, 20 minutes into Mount Tam and you're in nature. So we just love it.
Excellent. Now, do you also feel like the areas that you stayed at were also a little bit more shielded during COVID? Because there's a lot of neighborhoods that the restaurants were still busy, everything was still lively. Now there's other areas like downtown that was completely different. So did you also feel like it was, even though the news and media was going really negative
Yeah.
about the whole city, even though the city is like 900,000 people, did you also feel like, well, it's not anywhere close to being this bad because we're also in this different pocket or different regions?
Yeah, I think it was really a tale of two cities.
Yeah.
Like the downtown
Right.
district was hit hard, right?
Yes.
But those neighborhood pockets, the small areas around the city, they remain vibrant throughout.
Right.
There was no notable change. There was a
Right.
few months where things shut down,
Right.
but as soon as things were opening back up, getting back to normal times, these places just sprung back.
Right.
And they have all sprung back. There's
Right.
very few vacant places, a lot of commercial businesses, new restaurants all the time, new things happening. It's really vibrant, and I don't think it lost any of its vibrancy as a result of COVID.
Yeah, and I mean, if anyone has gone to the city, especially any of these areas, and just go out for a weeknight
Hmm.
dinner
Hmm.
or get weeknight drinks, you'll see it's busy. It
Yeah,
is packed,
absolutely,
right? And so it's completely so different from what the media has been doing. Now, absolutely, like the downtown areas is a completely different story,
yeah,
right? The restaurants that are there for like the lunchtime,
yeah,
like that's really
yeah,
bad, because there's a lot less people going to work in those areas. But these areas where people are already living, they need to go somewhere for dinners,
absolutely,
right? And so they can either cook at home or they just go out. And generally, it's more convenient just to go out because it's
absolutely,
only a few minute walk, anyways. So these places have remained really, really busy, right? And
absolutely,
so as people kind of decide whether they want to have roots in San Francisco, it is very important to understand the local area and just go out yourself, right? Like you don't even have to listen to this or listen to the media. Just go out yourself. Go grab dinner and see for yourself. Like how is it lively?
absolutely,
And it's very obvious. And
absolutely.
it was very obvious even in many years ago. Now it's completely different. Now it's even better and even bigger. So what are your plans, right? Like you've been in this place for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Like what's your eventual goal? Like what do you want to do?
That's a good
The
question.
hopes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we want to stay in San Francisco. We
Cool.
we, we love the city. We enjoy work. We enjoy the industry we work in. We want to be here long term. I think we would like to maybe move to a bigger place at some point in the future. Similar area. We love this part of San Francisco. So no plans to move on or do anything dramatically different.
I guess my last question, because you both work at Meta, is does Meta have any kind of presence that you're able to check in San Francisco, or are most people just going to be getting onto a shuttle and getting down to Menlo Park
Yeah, so
for the most part?
most people will go down to Menlo Park. There is a San Francisco office. Not many people are based there
Yeah.
compared to MPK or Menlo Park, rather. I'm remote, so I remain in the city. Um, But yeah, most people travel down.
Nice, very good. Any parting advice for anyone that's considering to buy or sell here in the Bay Area that you can
Yeah,
share your wisdom with?
yeah, easy. Reach out to Spencer.
Thank you.
Spencer makes it easy. Spencer makes it fun. I trust Spencer a lot. Realtor for life.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
So if you have any questions, not too sure how it works here, are intimidated by things in the US or things in the Bay Area, reach out to Spencer and he'll sort you out.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right.